Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to F2 Math. Today we're going to be talking about inequalities. So what is inequalities? So guys, you're already familiar with the word equals to, or what an equal sign looks like. And it is a thing that shows another thing is equal to, or one thing is equal to another thing. And that's what the equal to sign represents. But there's also other signs that shows inequalities, basically showing that two things are not equal. So we call these things inequality signs, and they are used in inequalities. So the basic inequality signs you guys would have known is when you started primary school, which is the greater than and less than sign. And they would look something like that or that. Okay, those are inequality signs. It represents less than or greater than and less than. So for example, if I have to say X and do that, what am I saying? I am saying that X is less than Y. If I do that, I'm saying X is greater than Y. Okay, so those are the inequality signs, very basic inequality signs you would have started off with learning very early in your maths life. But today we're going to go on to a little bit more. But before we go further, for example, if you had a sentence that read, everyone in a class is less than 13 years old. Everyone in the class is less than 13 years old. How will we display that in using inequality signs? So firstly, we're working with children's ages. So let's use A as everyone's age. And we said is less than 13 years old. What's going to go in the middle? We're going to use that sign. That sign showing that everyone in the class is greater than 13 years old. They're older than 13 years old. Okay? Two more signs that you would learn is that and that. And they are formed by putting part of an equal sign under an inequality sign. Okay, they are formed by putting part of an equals to sign under an inequality sign. So what this actually means, if I say X and I do that and I say that, I am saying X is less than or greater than Y. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying X is less than or greater than Y. If I do X, it means that X is greater than or less than, not greater than or less than, allow me to correct my error. X is less than or equal to, or equal to Y, and X is greater than or equal to Y. Okay. Please don't get confused. I'm sorry, I just kind of went off the beaten path there for a little bit. So let's look at these signs again. When we say X and we have this sign with a Y, we mean X is less than or equal to Y. When we have it sitting the other way, we say X is greater than or equal to Y. Let's clean out this board. Okay, now what if we had a sentence that said, this nursery school takes children who are 4 years old or more. This nursery school takes children that are 4 years old or more. How would we express that? Okay, once again, I'm going to use A to express the age, and I'm going to write 4 here for the 4 years. Well, what would go in the middle? That would go in the middle. Because what am I saying? It means that the age can be greater than or equal to 4 years old. Okay, it can be greater than or equal to 4 years old. Okay, so now that is to work out the greater than. What if we do these? So I'm going to show you the following pairs of inequalities. So look at this. X is, so we know in this instance, X is less than Y. Okay, X is less than Y, and if I swing it around, we know Y is greater than X. So here it's showing X being less than Y, and here it's Y is greater than X. If I do this, it shows X is less than or equal to Y. Okay, so if you guys look at this, what I've done here is I've swapped it over. First, I've started off by saying X is less than Y, and then I swapped over the Y, and I said Y is greater than X. But if you look at this, it shows X is either less than or equal to Y, and that's what this stands for. If I had it the other way around, facing the other way, it will be X is greater than or equal to Y. Okay, another sign that we use looks like that, and this simply means not equal to. So for example, X is not equal to 5 simply means that X is not equal to 5. Okay, so if I have an equal to with a line going through, it means not equal to. So that is another inequality sign that you've learned. Okay, so we're going to work with a few examples so that we can get more familiar working with inequality signs, and we're going to see how understanding them can be beneficial when you're working out an expression or an equation. I'm going to first clear out this board. Okay, I am working from your textbook right now, this textbook over here, and I'm going to work from page 96, and I'm working on exercise 9.5. So I'm going to do a couple exercises from each section, and just to get you guys familiar with what we're doing and some practice. Okay, so for example, I'm going to start the first one, and it says 1A says A, and you got 6. What does that mean? It simply means A is less than 6. A is less than 6. Then if I go on to another number, let's go on to number 4. Number 4A, and if I have that, all I'm saying is 8 is greater than A. 8 is greater than A. Okay, what if I have 2B? 2B says B and 3. What am I saying? If I have my sign sitting like that, what does that actually mean? I am saying that B is greater than or equal to 3. Is greater than or equal to 3. If I have to do 2C, and it goes C, and they've got 10. What am I saying there? I am saying C is less than or equal to 10. Okay, I'm saying 10 is less than, sorry, I'm saying C is equal to or less than 10. Okay, now let's look at exercise 9.5 and let's use the examples that we have that's given to us. Clear my board. Okay, so I'm going to go on to exercise 9.5 and we're going to go to B. And we've got 5 times 3, and I've got space, and I've got 7 plus 8. So what is 5 times 3? 5 times 3 is 15, and 7 plus 8 is 15. So the missing sign here will be equals to, and this is something you are already familiar with. Okay, what about 5 times 4 and 3 times 6? 5 times 4 is 20, and 3 times 6 is 18. So our answer here would be 5 times 4 is greater than. So these are still signs you guys are quite familiar with or have been doing for a rather long time. What about 5 tons and 3,000 kilograms? Which one is greater? 5 tons or 3,000 kilograms? You'd find that 5 tons is greater than 3,000 kilograms. Okay, now let's keep on working more examples. I'm going to work with exercise 9.5 and I'm going to go on to F. Okay, and here's a few examples. And it says, rewrite each of the following sentences using the correct inequality signs. Okay, rewrite each of the following sentences using the correct inequality signs. It says, choose a suitable letter to represent the unknown in each case. So I'm going to go with number 1. It says, to go to a particular secondary school, a student must be at least 11 years old and not more than 18 years old. Okay? Those of you that don't have a textbook, to go to a particular secondary school, a student must be at least 11 years old and not more than 18 years old. How would I show that? Okay, so firstly, the number 11 and the number 18 is definitely going to come into the picture. So I'm going to say 11 and what does that mean? Means there must be more than 11. So the sign here will represent more than 11, and the x's, they will have to be, they cannot be more than 18 years old. Okay, so they can be more than 11 years old. They must be at least more than 11, but they got to be less than 18 years old. Number 3 says, to ride on a roller coaster, a person must be at least 160 centimeters tall and not taller than 2 meters. To ride on a roller coaster, a person must be at least 160 centimeters tall and not taller than 2 meters. So they must be at least 160 centimeters tall, but they must not be taller than 2 meters. They must not be taller than 2 meters. And that's how we will write that. Okay, let's do one more. Number 7 says, the maximum number of players from each side on the pitch in a football league game is 11. The minimum number is 7. Now, how do we rewrite that following sentence using the correct inequality sign? Once again, the maximum number of players from each side of the pitch in a football league game is 11. Okay, so that's the maximum number, 11, and the minimum number is 7. So we will write that down as that. Maximum number, minimum number 7, maximum number 11. Okay, here again, minimum height 160 centimeters, maximum height is 2 meters. Minimum age is 11, maximum age was 18. Okay, now let's recap whatever we've done today. Okay, when we started off today, I told you that you're already familiar with the equals to sign and what they represent. It's used to show us that one thing is equal to another thing. But we also know that as well as equal to signs, we have something called inequality signs. And we know very early in our math, we started doing the greater than and less than signs. But today we learned of signs that actually show us what is greater than, but or equal to, or less than, and equal to, and not equal to. Okay, and we know that when we are writing algebraic expressions, or when we're writing a sentence for inequalities, we read the sentence and we see what is it asking us for. Is it equal to? Is it not equal to? Is it greater than or equal to, less than or equal to? Okay, are there any questions? Is anybody not sure about inequalities and how it works? Okay, so inequalities, guys, can go on a little bit. We can stretch them a little bit longer. Basically, all we're seeing, the two values standing on either side. Is it greater than? Is it less than? Is it less than or equal to, greater than, or equal to, or not equal to? And basically, all you need to do is read your sentence or read the equation and see what it's actually asking for. So I hope you guys enjoyed your lesson today on inequalities, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week, Monday.